Hi, I'm Amber Paxton with the Financial Empowerment Center, and you're watching Money Power. Money Power will help you learn ways to get money, save money, and manage money. The show is part of the City of Lansing's Financial Empowerment Center, a partnership between the city and Capital Area Community Services. The Financial Empowerment Center offers free one-on-one financial counseling to Lansing residents. Call 211 today to schedule your free appointment. It's safe, confidential, and can help you pay off debt, improve your credit score, access safe and affordable bank products, and save for the future. The Lansing Financial Empowerment Center is made possible by a grant from the Cities for Financial Empowerment Fund, a program of Bloomberg Philanthropy's Mayor's Project. Thanks for watching Money Power. I hope you learned something that gives you the power. You can do it. We can help.
And I own Kelly's Consignments in Okemos. Consignment is a way for people to take the things in their home, they can bring them in, we sell them, and then they get a percentage of the profit. When someone's ready to consign or they think they have some items that they would like to sell, their first step usually is to call into the store, and then I kind of go through it with them. Is it apparel, clothing, shoes, purses, or is it furniture, home decor, and accessories for your home? Sometimes I go into people's homes and evaluate what they have there, if they have a whole bunch. If they just have a few things they want to do, big things, furniture things, we ask to see pictures first. Clothing items, we ask them to bring them in, clean pressed, on hangers, the specific season that we're taking at that time. 20 items at a time, and we can give you a good idea of if we take 20 of your items at the beginning, then you know you're onto something. If we only take 1 or 2 or 3, we'll explain to you why and show you how you can be a better consigner to know what consignment stores are looking for. There are no fees associated with being a consigner, other than, of course, we're going to share in the profit with each other. You'll get 45% of what it sells for. Some consignment stores charge you a fee to be a consigner. At Kelly's Consignments, we do not. The items that sell the best in a consignment store would be what's currently out in the marketplace, which is sometimes hard to find on consignment because it means somebody needs to be ready to let go of it already. So you kind of got to look towards what's hot in the market right now. That's what's going to sell right now. That's why consignment stores are 2 to 3 years old or newer in their products, because you want what people are going to the mall to find too. So furniture has a higher ticket, so if you're looking to make the most money, the more you paid for the item, the more I'm going to be able to sell it for. So if you shop at Old Navy and Target and Walmart, that's going to be a tough sell because they're already inexpensive. If you're a mall shopper, then your items are going to sell for more than what if you're a thrifty shopper already. You have to be someone that loves to shop to make money doing consignment. To find a reputable consignment store is somebody that takes the time to teach you what to do, because you could spend time chasing yourself in a consignment store, driving around to find somebody to take your things. That's why when I tell somebody, no, sorry, I can't take your items, I explain to them why. I teach them how they can be a good consignor. A lot of consignment stores will look at you and say, I'm not taking any of these, and then they go to the next customer. I will literally sit down with you and say, if you're trying to make some money, if you need to make some money, this is what you need to do. Because it's a learning process, and you have to start somewhere. There's 2 kinds of consigners. There's the consigner that wants to just get rid of the things that are in their closet because they don't want them anymore, and they want somebody to be able to benefit from being able to purchase them. Then there's the consigner that I have several of that are out in the marketplace, and they're looking for things to buy to resell. They go to garage sales, they go to thrift stores, they help a friend clean out their closet, and in return that means they're going to bring them to me. You have to know what you're looking for. And because it's going to cost you money to do that, you need to make sure you know what you're doing to turn a profit. And I help those people learn how to do that, what brands to look for, because brands sell, brands that you pay more money for sell for more money. So if you're going to put your money into something, it needs to be something that is going to return your money quick. Right. To know what you're looking for, if you want to make money being a consigner, is you need to be somebody that knows brands. You need to be a frequent mall person. You need to understand quality of fabric. You need to look at the trends. Are there shoulder pads in style or not? Are high-waisted jeans in style or not? And all of those trends are trends that are in and out. And even though shoulder pads were popular in the 80s, They're popular again right now, but they're different. And so you have to really know the market or you're going to chase your own tail. Really, consignment is the way to upcycle your things instead of them ending up in a landfill, in a garbage can, in a, still sitting in your garage. It's a way for the community to sell their things, make money from them. They come here, pick up their money, go out and spend it at Meijer, Walmart, Target, Kmart, Jim that owns the deli down the street. So it's really a way to recycle money in our own community. And because we're here in Lansing, so close to the college and the capital, we have customers that travel the world. So we have things from all over the world inside of a consignment store because of the way that we do it. And that money goes back into the community. So really, consignment is more than just a way for you to make your money. It's a way to keep our money right here in this community and not let it end up in a landfill somewhere. There are two different ways that you can save and make money at consignment stores, and one is to bring your things in to sell so that you can make money to take home with you. The other way is to save money by the things that you purchase. In consignment stores, you can typically be spending 40 to 50% of what you can buy it for at a retail store, considering that they go on sale. For instance, at certain stores, a suit might run $199, $199. I know that they go 50% often. Now that makes it down to $100. Now I'm going to price it at $40 to $50 of that price, and sometimes they're still brand new with the store tag still on it. The other thing that consignment stores offer are sale rooms and sale discounts. The longer the item has been in a consignment store, they often decrease in price the longer that they're here before they're gone. In our store, before they're gone, they even hit a room as low as $2.99. So in any given time at our store, you can go through a room full of products that are $2.99. So you can make money consigning, but you can also save a bunch by shopping there also. The other way you can do it is when you're a consigner, you're making money. Our consignment software allows you then to spend that money back into the store. So you literally could leave here without ever having any money spent out of your pocket, which is a lot of what our consigners do. It's a way to, once you get into it and you learn how to do it, you can learn how to buy your clothes off from the clothes that you had before, and then you come in and you know how much money you can spend, and you're left with spending nothing. In a consignment store, you're going to be able to shop higher quality, which means they last longer, and you're going to look nicer, step it up, feel better about yourself from the outside, and that helps you make more money. It helps you keep a job. It helps you get a job. It helps you save money on stuff you have to buy.
My name is Joseph Mapes. I'm the Regional Sales Director for Basic. Basic is an integrated HR outsourcing and consulting firm based in Portage, Michigan. My current territory covers the state of Michigan, Maryland, Virginia, and New York. Yeah, obviously tax evasion is illegal, right? It's an illegal way to dodge taxes. Well, a flexible spending account is a legal way to avoid paying taxes on specific expenses, one being, of course, medical out-of-pocket expenses. So really any medical expense not covered by insurance. And also dependent care, of course, is money that you can put aside for daycare, day camps, child or adult dependent care. And the way it really works is at the beginning of the year, it's typically a 12-month plan year. So again, it's an employee benefit. So employers have to implement this plan to have it available. An employee then makes an election for the medical reimbursement. The maximum annual election they can set aside is $2,500. For the dependent care, it's $5,000. And how that essentially works in practice is they make that election on the front end, and let's just say it's a calendar year. It could be a plan year, but a lot of times you're going to find a flex plan running on a calendar year or coordinating with their employee benefit health plan. So they set aside those dollars tax-free over the course of 12 months. So let's just say an employee makes an election of $1,300 because they know they're going to have orthodontia expenses, prescription lenses or frames, co-pays, maintenance medications, any number of expenses, even certain over-the-counter items are eligible. They set that money aside incrementally over the course of 12 months of payroll. So for example, if you're paid biweekly and you elect $1,300 for the plan year, you're going to have $50 withheld completely tax-free per paycheck as the year goes along. And when I say tax-free, I mean it's pulled out of your gross pay before any federal, state, city, if applicable, and FICA tax is withheld. Yes, so for example, if an employee makes $20,000 annually, if they elect $2,000 to go into their medical reimbursement flex account, on their W-2, they're going to show an income of $18,000. So it's really withheld right off the top. No taxes are taken out, and they can then spend that $2,000 that's not reported as income. You want to go into it with an idea in your mind of what you're going to use the money for. And there are a ton of things that this can be used for, whether it's copays, again, RX, deductible expenses, medical, dental, vision, acupuncture, a lot of different items. And your employer is usually going to provide a handout or a sheet that's going to show you what eligible expenses may be. You want to have an earmark in your mind of where those dollars are going to be allocated, because although it's fantastic that you can put this money aside tax-free for these expenses, you need to make sure you spend that money during the course of the year, because at the end of the year you won't get it back. But I'll tell you why it still makes a ton of sense. A, you're putting it in tax-free. B, if you know you have known expenses, known medical out-of-pocket expenses, you know you're going to be able to spend it. And at the end of the year, if you have money remaining, there's always the option of going to the pharmacy and buying your eye drops, bandages. A lot of over-the-counter stuff is still eligible without a prescription. Not only is it tax-free, and as I mentioned earlier, you're paying in incrementally your election over the course of an entire year. However, with the medical reimbursement, you have access to that entire annual election from the first day of the plan. So let's say it's January 1st. Your first payroll deduction of $50 is, let's say, January 7th. You could spend your entire $1,300 as of the 1st of January. So your employer actually fronts you that money. You end up paying it back over the course of the year. So in essence, it's an interest-free, tax-free loan. But when you really talk about flex spending, what employees generally think about are the medical reimbursement, which is the second option. It's totally elective, it's optional, and that's where they can set aside $2,500 for non-premium expenses, so your out-of-pocket expenses that aren't covered by insurance. And then the third option is going to be your dependent care, which again can be used for daycare, day camps, or adult dependent care. You know, if you make $1,000 in your paycheck, you don't take home $1,000, you take home $700, $750. If you know you're going to spend $1,000 in medical expenses, if you put that $1,000 aside in your flex plan, you can spend the entire $1,000 as opposed to $700. So really you're just saving yourself money. You're saving yourself by not paying any tax. And depending on your tax bracket, it could be, again, between 20 and 35% on every dollar you're setting aside. So the compelling reason for an employee to use a flex plan, you're saving money. The benefit to the employer, first of all, is they're providing an employee benefit. They're providing an added benefit to their health plan. And obviously for employers to attract and retain talent, having comprehensive health benefits is critical. So just, peace of mind in knowing that they're doing a good thing for their employees is one. They're offering a compelling benefit to help their employees. The second piece, and this is one of the best, the second piece really is the fact that for every dollar that goes into a flex plan, it reduces an employer's payroll tax liability, and they pay 6.2% on every dollar of their payroll. So if you have an employer who has an employee that makes $20,000, well, they put $5,000 in their flex, the employer is saving 6.2%, and that's the FICA, Social Security, Medicare, on that $5,000. So many times, and this is the beauty of talking about these plans, talking to employers, consulting, and ultimately selling plans, many times the tax savings that an employer realizes from offering the benefit pays for the administrative fee to implement the plan. So essentially they can offer it as a free benefit many times. Yeah, if an employee wants to find out whether or not they have a flex plan available, they really want to talk to one of two people, and it just depends on the structure of the organization, but typically their HR department or their employee benefits department. Sometimes those are one and the same. They would just want to go ask there, and they'll certainly know if that's available. And during open enrollment for your health plan, usually if you have a flex plan in place, you're going to hear about an FSA or a Section 125 or FSA. Conceivably they could, although the federal cap on the amount you can set aside as a participant is $2,500. Now, if you have a spouse that has an employer that also offers a flex plan, they too could put in $2,500 for the medical, in which case you've got $5,000 that any and all members of the family could access. Yeah, regarding dependent care, essentially, you put the money aside, again, totally tax-free, and it can be used to pay for, again, daycare, day camps, pre-kindergarten expenses, and even adult daycare in certain situations. They don't have to be licensed, but if they're not licensed, we just need to make certain that we have their social security number, because ultimately they're going to want to make sure to claim that as income. Dependent care is a pay-as-you-go account, meaning unlike medical, where you can pay or incur or access, I should say, the full $1,300 up front, dependent care is pay-as-you-go. If you have $500 per pay withheld, you have access to that $500. You can't spend the entire annual election all at once, but usually, because daycare is something you pay for relatively regularly each month, that works out pretty well either way. But it is a key difference it's worth noting. Absolutely. I would certainly recommend that employees consider utilizing a flexible spending account, because ultimately, if you have out-of-pocket expenses, if you have medical expenses, which most people do to some level, you're just saving yourself money by putting it aside. Again, it's an IRS developed and regulated plan, but it's a legal way to avoid paying taxes. Employers offer the benefit. Their tax savings or their payroll tax burden is reduced, and employees have a great tax-free benefit that doesn't cost them anything. So really, it's a win-win-win sort of situation.
My name is Ross YEDNOCK. I am the Program Director for the Michigan Economic Impact Coalition here at the Community Economic Development Association of Michigan, or CEDM. The Michigan Economic Impact Coalition, or MEIC. It's a statewide coalition of organizations that help people build taxes or build assets and do their taxes for free. What we're talking about in those, when people need cash in a hurry, there's traditional ways or ways where people with good credit are able to access it. Sometimes they're, able to access their own bank account or their own savings account. But when people don't have money saved or don't have access to traditional credit or have poor credit, they often turn to alternative financial services, which are often predatory in nature. What a predatory service or product is something that's taking advantage of a particular community or a particular client in a particular situation. An example of a predatory practice that's non-financial would be something, hurricane strikes down in New Orleans, water, people don't have drinkable water, and I'm a store that sells bottled water normally at $1, for a bottle. Now I'm selling it for $5. That's a predatory practice because you need water and I'm going to make money off the fact that you need this. When you look at a financial service, a payday loan, an auto title loan, somebody's coming to me who needs money quickly, and it could be to get their car fixed. It could be that they're about to be evicted, and I'm going to charge them a very high premium because they're in need. So that's the predatory practice there. When you look at a lot of the payday loans, the business model itself is to what is called churn the client. So I get you in that first 2-week loan for $300, knowing that you're going to have a hard time paying the $345 at the end of 2 weeks. So you come back in 2 weeks and take out another loan for another $345. And you're continually paying me $45 every 2 weeks for a $300 loan that was taken out essentially 6 months ago. When you use a payday loan, for example, you're putting your next paycheck up as collateral, and you're paying a very high premium on that. In Michigan, it's 50 cents or $15 for every $100 you borrow. So you may borrow $400, and your fee on that $400 loan is $60. And then you have to pay that $400 plus that $65 back within 2 weeks. When you factor that into what the APR would be on a loan like that, you're looking at a 3-digit, 200, 300% APR loan, where the highest credit card loan is typically 25% or around that range, and that's a very high percentage. So this is 5, 6, 7. I can't do the math off the top of my head, but it's 10 times as high. A refund anticipation loan or a refund anticipation check is a high-cost loan at tax time, and one of the things you want to avoid in any type of lending situation is borrowing your own money and paying to borrow your own money. And that's essentially what you're doing in a refund anticipation loan. It's where I, as the tax preparer, do your taxes and say, would you like your refund tomorrow? And I will charge you $150 to access your refund in 24 hours. Whereas if you are filing electronically by the IRS, or you go to a free tax site like those offered through the Asset Independence Coalition, you'll get your taxes done, or you'll get your refund within really about 7 days right now. With regard to check cashing, many people, if you don't have a bank account, you're paying money to get your check, paycheck, or any sort of checks cashed. Sometimes it's $3, $4, which may not seem like a lot, but if you're doing that a couple times a month over the course of a year, that does add up, and that starts to become real money. It can be as much as a couple $100s a year you're paying to access your own money. And again, you never want to pay to access your own money. I mean, the thing with the payday loans and many of these alternative financial services, check cashing, reloadable debit cards, these are they're becoming more traditional in some instances, but it's not always that they're too good to be true. It's that the costs up front, and that's what tends to attract customers, knowing that I'm not going to be charged a late fee or a overdraft fee on a checking account. Maybe they've had problems in the past. But the real issue is you need to factor in, is that $45 to get that money in advance for 2 weeks really the only alternative you have when trying to come up with short-term cash? I would say it's always worth worth contacting the person you owe money, the agency, the company, and you're absolutely right. 2 weeks isn't a long time in the grand scheme of things. So if you call your utility company, you call your landlord, most cases they'll be able to work with you on something like that. In some cases they may not. Food. If the issue is you don't have food and you need to buy groceries to be able to feed your kids, that's going to be more difficult, but there are other resources out there. And if you call 211, they'll be able to connect you with some of the available programs out there. There's emergency cash assistance programs if you qualify, food assistance programs if you qualify. They can connect you to a food pantry. That's just one example there. But there are many resources out there in the community, both that are operated through the state government or the federal government, and also just through community organizations and food pantries and other nonprofits that are helpful too. But making that call the first time before just going to the payday lender in the strip mall down the street would be the first thing I would do. Now, banks, and particularly after the recession, banks and credit unions are offering small dollar loans. Credit is a factor. Sometimes you're going to have to pay a higher amount on in interest than somebody with better credit or with more credit might have to pay. But that would be the traditional route: going to a credit union, going to a bank, finding out what your options are there. You may end up paying more than you would for a traditional loan, but you'll be paying a lot less than you would on a payday loan or a auto title loan where you're putting your car up for hock. Yeah, well, and these things do add up. And saving $100 a year might not feel like you're getting rich. What you are doing is you're not giving your money to someone else and making them rich. So you're keeping that money in there. But there's also something called the miracle of compound interest. And this is, we're talking about predatory products here, but if you're able to save that $100, $200, $250 a year in fees that you've been paying on check cashing and other alternative financial products that you don't have to pay, you could save that money. And $250 every year over the course of 10 years, you start adding interest to that, and you start getting a good sizable chunk of money. And it, that pretty soon that turns into, after 5 years, more than $1,000. After 10 years, a couple $1,000, and it keeps growing and growing and growing.
My name is Gary Cox. I'm 50 years old. I recently was paroled December of last year, and I met Amber Paxton through the resource day at the parole office, and signed up for the financial empowerment services that was being offered at the parole office, along with other services that was made available for people who was needing of assistance. Oh yes, it's been definitely a positive and very useful for myself, being that I took a credit course a few months back that was paid through Michigan Works, through the Eagle Vision program, and that kind of like gave me somewhat of an understanding of how not to establish bad credit as opposed to good credit, and how to watch out for a lot of the loops that are offered and not get caught up in a lot of the scams. But with this here, it gives me a different structure because it helps me to be able to use a more resourceful way of approaching things, and realizing that I need to learn how to budget my money and to use it better, because the more information that I have, the better that I would be productive and effective in things that I set out to do, and whether it's with my job or whether it's with finances, because the lack of information there will cause you to veer into pitfalls, thinking that, okay, I can do this, I can do that. But without the knowledge, you can spend very recklessly and not knowing where your money's going, and you could be in some very tight situations. So I think it is important, and just as well as I think that that is a key to whatever structure, whether it's within a household or type of information that you would pass on to family and friends about the importance of having a banking account, a savings account, following a budget, and having a plan, so that once you start at a good stable point, it can push forward into your future plans of how to manage and not veer off into pitfalls and little things that you can get caught up in, things that look attractive to you that you want to buy, but realize that you may not have the money, and not doing those rent-to-own centers or a bunch of credit cards. So having the information, to me, is very vital, because regardless of the amount of money that I may have, you can lose it very quickly if you spend it recklessly. Right. Oh yes, anyone could take advantage of. Those who don't have a structure of understanding how the banking, the importance of banking, as well as having a financial counselor, someone to sit down and discuss your financial debts and problems with, to help you with those type of situations. And anyone, just to the general public, anyone who likes resources, anyone that likes the information, anyone who want to utilize or make changes when they see themselves in a situation of financial destitute.